Lysera stood in the central garden watching human Captain Elias Varn move through the alien courtyard with precise steps. He was training the palace guards, a task he accepted without complaint even though the aliens eyed him with suspicion. Lysera's violet eyes narrowed as she observed him. Every movement was calculated, every strike deliberate. The guards tried to match his skill but fell short. Their attacks were flashy but uncoordinated, while Elias struck exactly where needed, subduing them without causing serious harm. He is different from what they said, Lysera muttered to herself. Her hand brushed against the railing of the garden walkway. For days she had watched him silently, testing her own fear against the reality of his actions. Stories of human cruelty had been exaggerated, but fear lingered stubbornly in her heart. Still, she could not deny that his discipline and restraint were remarkable. "Princess Lysera," a voice called from behind. She turned to see her attendant Nira bowing respectfully. "Captain Varn trains well, yes, but do not forget he is human." "Humans are dangerous, unpredictable." Lysera shook her head. "I know what I fear, Nira, but I see what I do not understand. Perhaps humans are not as reckless as we think." Nira frowned but said nothing. Fear of humans was deeply ingrained in their culture. To suggest otherwise was almost heretical. Meanwhile, Elias continued his training. He paused to assess the guards, his dark eyes scanning each one, noting strengths and weaknesses. To him, this was not about superiority. It was about efficiency. Every species had its own ways, its own skills. To survive in the galaxy, one must respect differences. Later that day, Lysera's father, King Thalor, called her to his chamber. She entered, keeping her expression calm, though her mind raced. "Princess, it is time you understand why this union is necessary," the king said. His voice was stern but not unkind. "Humans are expanding. They are powerful, yes, but more than that, they are survivors. They can adapt, plan, and endure. Captain Varn will strengthen our position in the galaxy." Lysera's eyes flashed. "But father, what of his reputation? They say he is ruthless, cruel, and merciless. How can I trust him to be human and not a predator?" King Thalor sighed. "Reputation often hides truth. I have seen him act with honor, even in the most dangerous situations. He fights with precision, not emotion. He kills only when necessary, not for pleasure. That is the difference between courage and cruelty." Lysera nodded slowly but unconvinced. "I will try to see this, father, but it is difficult." The next day, a minor crisis struck the city. A rogue faction of alien insurgents attempted to disrupt trade routes, targeting merchants and travelers. The palace guards scrambled to respond. For the first time, Elias was tested in a real situation. He moved quickly, coordinating the alien soldiers with precise instructions. He anticipated the insurgents' moves, directing the guards to defend the merchants while minimizing harm. Lysera watched from a high balcony, her heart pounding. He was effective. Not brutal, not reckless, but smart and controlled. His actions saved lives without needless bloodshed. "Perhaps," Lysera whispered almost to herself, "humans can be honorable." Later, she approached him cautiously in the garden. "Captain Varn," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I saw what you did today. You saved many lives. You did not harm anyone unnecessarily." Elias turned, his expression calm. "It is my duty to protect. Violence is only justified when necessary. That is true for humans and, I believe, for all species." Lysera blinked. There was no pride in his voice, no arrogance. Only truth. For the first time, she felt a flicker of understanding. Humans were not monsters, they were different. Their methods were different, their culture different, but their morals could be strong. Still, fear lingered. "But why help us?" she asked softly. "You are a human. Our people fear your kind. Why risk yourself?" Elias paused. His dark eyes met hers. "Because honor is not species-specific, Princess. Courage is not limited to aliens or humans. I fight for what is right, for those who cannot defend themselves. That is all, and I will not break my word." Lysera considered this. Her people had taught her to fear humans, but here was proof that fear could be wrong, that humans could act with integrity, with bravery, with discipline. Days passed and Lysera continued to observe him. She noticed small things, how he respected the alien customs, how he asked permission before speaking in certain chambers, how he treated the palace guards as equals, not tools. Even the court began to see a change in him. Some ministers whispered among themselves. Perhaps humans were not so barbaric after all. One evening, as the twin moons rose over Zithera, Lysera and Elias found themselves alone in the palace library. She could not hide her curiosity any longer. "Captain Varn," she said, her voice hesitant, "tell me, why did you accept this mission? Why agree to marry a princess who fears you?" Elias studied her, considering how much to reveal. "Because it is necessary. Your world needs protection and humans can provide it. But also because I believe trust can be earned, princess. I want to prove that humans are more than their reputation." Lysera felt a strange warmth at his words. It was not love, far from it, but respect and perhaps a beginning of trust. Yet doubt remained. She had grown up hearing stories of human cruelty. Could one human's honor change the view of an entire species? Before she could speak again, alarms rang through the palace. A warning light flashed. Intruders had breached the outer walls. The rogue faction had attacked earlier than expected. Chaos erupted. Guards shouted, civilians screamed, and the palace descended into controlled panic. Elias reacted immediately. He coordinated the palace guards, directing them to block entrances and protect civilians. His commands were clear, precise, and without hesitation. Lysera followed him, carrying a first aid kit to help the wounded. The battle in the palace courtyard was brief but intense. The insurgents had expected easy targets, but Elias and the alien guards were too organized. He moved with a speed and efficiency that left even the seasoned alien warriors in awe. He disarmed attackers, restrained them, and prevented unnecessary bloodshed. At one point, Lysera found herself cornered by two insurgents. Before she could react, Elias appeared, moving with calculated force. In a single motion, he neutralized the threat, catching her by the arm. His grip was firm, protective, not violent. "You are safe," he said calmly. "Do not fear humans because of others' actions. Judge by what you see, not what you hear." Lysera nodded, her heart racing. She had feared this human, but now she saw the truth. His reputation had been a shadow, a misunderstanding. Courage, discipline, and honor. These were not alien traits alone. Humans could embody them too. After the intruders were captured, the palace settled into uneasy quiet. Lysera and Elias walked together through the garden. The air smelled of alien flowers, their fragrance sharp and sweet under the moonlight. "Today," Lysera said softly, "I saw something I did not expect. Humans can be good." Elias glanced at her, a small smile on his face. "Not all humans are perfect, princess, but some try. That is all anyone can do." For the first time, Lysera felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps the marriage would not be the terror she had imagined. Perhaps she could learn to trust a human, to see beyond fear, to recognize courage and honor in a species so different from her own. But deep in the shadows, unseen eyes watched the palace. The rogue faction was not finished. They would strike again. The danger had only begun, and soon Lysera would be forced to face the question she could not yet answer. Could she truly rely on a human to protect her world, and herself, from the darkness that threatened them all? As the twin moons shone overhead, Lysera took a deep breath. The human at her side had proven himself once. Could he do it again? And more importantly, could she overcome the fear that had haunted her all her life? The collision of worlds had begun. Humans and aliens would meet not as enemies but as allies, or they would fall together. And in the heart of that collision, Princess Lysera would discover that courage could be found in the most unexpected places. Ethan never thought he would end up in trouble for a joke. But then again, he had always been the kind of human who liked to laugh, even when the galaxy was too serious for it. On the bustling station of Vir 9, a hub where humans and alien species mingled, Ethan was well known for his pranks. Every time a new alien delegation arrived, he would find some harmless way to make them laugh, or occasionally frown in confusion. The station was alive with celebration. Lights of all colors flashed along the corridors. Holographic banners danced in the air, and music from dozens of cultures echoed through the vast hangars. It was the Festival of Bonds, a rare event when humans, aliens, and hybrids gathered to celebrate friendship and trust. Merchants sold exotic foods. Performers floated in zero gravity. And children of all species chased glowing spheres that hovered like fireflies. Ethan was in the main plaza, juggling small magnetic orbs, drawing amused glances from some species and horrified stares from others. He grinned and caught the last orb just as a tall, elegant alien stepped forward. Her skin shimmered faintly like starlight, and her eyes were an unusual shade of violet that seemed almost to pierce through him. She was Lyra, a visitor from the distant Elari system, a species humans had rarely encountered. Ethan bowed exaggeratedly. "Greetings, O majestic starlight. May your tentacles, or whatever you call them, dance with joy today." Lyra tilted her head, watching him with a faint smile. Humans were strange, she thought. They always moved quickly, spoke loudly, and somehow found amusement in the oddest things. "I am Lyra," she said, her voice smooth but commanding. "I am here to observe and participate." Ethan's eyes sparkled. "Participate? Perfect. I have just the challenge for you. Come, join my friendly duel of skill and wit." He twirled another orb between his fingers, clearly enjoying the moment. Lyra raised an eyebrow but allowed herself a small laugh. "A duel of what nature?" "Something harmless. A human game. Winner gets bragging rights and maybe a free drink, well, if you can drink human liquids." "I'm flexible," Ethan said, bowing again, this time with a flourish that nearly sent him tumbling backward. The alien chuckled softly and stepped closer. "Very well, human. But be warned, I do not lose lightly." The game was simple. Ethan had arranged a set of floating rings and small orbs. The idea was to toss an orb through the ring, a common festival activity. Ethan went first, managing to score 2 points with clumsy precision, and Lyra followed. To his surprise, she moved with unbelievable grace, tossing the orbs so they glided perfectly through the rings. Ethan tried to joke about it. Okay, beginner's luck," he said, laughing nervously as he handed her another orb. No one expects alien beginners to master human games. Lyra paused, her violet eyes studying him. Then in a moment Ethan would never forget, she bit his arm, lightly, almost playfully. "Wait," Ethan yelped, clutching his arm. "What the—" Lyra stepped back, tilting her head in curiosity. "It is a bond," she said simply. "A small mark of trust and connection. You will understand soon." Ethan blinked, confused. "Bond? Connection? It's just a joke, right? But Lyra's gaze was calm, firm, and something deep inside him shivered at it. A strange warmth spread from the bite, crawling up his arm and settling into his chest. Ethan laughed nervously, trying to shrug it off. Okay. Cute alien joke. Very funny." The festival continued around them, but Ethan felt different. Lighter somehow, but also alert in a way he had never been. Colors seemed sharper, sounds clearer. He looked at Lyra and for a brief moment felt an unexplainable attachment, like he wanted to protect her, and not just because she had scared him half to death. "Ethan?" His friend Mara waved at him from across the plaza. She was human too, with a sharp wit and a no-nonsense attitude. "Stop staring at the alien lady and come help me with the snack booth." Ethan forced a laugh. Sure, coming." But he could not shake the feeling that something had changed. By the time he returned to his quarters, the station lights had dimmed, leaving the corridors bathed in soft, artificial moonlight. Ethan removed his jacket, inspecting the small mark on his arm. It looked like a faint red crescent, almost glowing. Weird. Definitely weird. Then it hit him. Suddenly his reflexes felt sharper. He caught a falling tool before it hit the floor. He heard faint whispers from the hallway, though he was alone. His heart raced, not from fear, but from an unexplainable awareness. "Okay, this is definitely not normal," he muttered to himself. The next morning, Ethan woke with a start. The bite mark had faded, but his senses had not. He could smell the distinct metallic scent of the station, the subtle spices in the foods from dozens of alien vendors, and the soft hum of energy conduits running through the walls. Every sound, every color, every movement felt amplified. He stumbled to the small window of his quarters, looking out at the vast expanse of stars. "What the hell is happening to me?" he whispered. Before he could ponder further, there was a soft knock at the door. He opened it to find Lyra, standing with her usual calm composure. "You feel it, don't you?" she asked. Ethan hesitated. "Feel what?" "The bond. It is not just symbolic. It links us in small ways, your senses, your instincts. You may find yourself alert, aware of things you could not before. You belong to me now, in a manner of speaking." "Belong to you?" Ethan stammered, backing up slightly. I thought it was a joke." I didn't mean anything serious." Lyra tilted her head. "In our culture, bonds are serious. They are not broken easily. But do not fear, I do not demand submission, only awareness and responsibility. Ethan ran a hand through his hair, bewildered. Responsibility for what? I don't even know what just happened. I'm a human, Lyra, I joke. That's what we do. Lyra smiled faintly. And yet you will learn. The bond grows stronger with understanding and respect. You will see that this is not a punishment nor a game. It is connection. Ethan sat down heavily, feeling overwhelmed. Humans were adaptable, sure, but this was alien, completely alien. And yet, he could not deny the strange sense of belonging that had already begun to creep into his mind, as if he and Lyra shared some invisible thread that connected them. The following days were even stranger. Ethan noticed that when Lyra was near, his mind felt clearer, his reactions faster. He caught a falling crate before it crashed, avoided a sudden malfunction in the energy conduit, and even anticipated Mara's attempts to prank him. Every human skill he had was amplified, but in ways that made him uneasy. One evening he confronted Lyra in the quiet of a deserted corridor. Okay, I need answers. Why am I feeling all like this? Like I'm part of your alien tribe or something? Lyra studied him thoughtfully. It is the bond. Your species has strength, creativity, and courage. Our bond allows me to share some of your instinct, and you to experience aspects of our perception. It is symbiosis. Ethan ran a hand over his arm, still tingling faintly from the bite.
Symbiosis, right.
So I'm basically yours now. Lyra did not flinch. Not yours in the way you fear, ours. It is mutual. You will protect, I will protect. You will belong and I will belong. It is natural. Ethan blinked, overwhelmed. He had never been so unsure of anything in his life. And yet a small, undeniable part of him felt safe, connected, important. That night, he stared at the stars again. Somewhere far away, Lyra's people had created this tradition, this strange ritual. And now he, a joking human engineer, was part of it. Somehow a joke had turned into reality, and his life would never be the same. For the first time, Ethan wondered, maybe, just maybe, humans were more than just a species that laughed at danger. Maybe they could adapt, survive, and belong, even in ways the universe had never imagined. And as the station hummed quietly around him, Ethan could feel the bond pulsing faintly in his chest, reminding him that his life had taken a turn he never expected. A bite, a joke. And now, a new beginning.